All right, on location in San Antonio with Scott Sajtinac, caddy for Brandt Snedeker, off this afternoon at 1:20, taking a little time out of his morning. Thanks for joining me, Scott.
Johnny Radhouse, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, you got a nice view there on the balcony of the golf course. I mean, there's no more convenient caddy hotel on tour, in my opinion. Um, Tournament does some fun stuff for us here this week too. I guess, how's the early week been for you? What are some of the cool things you've been up to?
One of the best stops on tour, no question. Beautiful resort, the JW Marriott, and it's literally a 2-minute stroll down to work. That doesn't happen. Doral, it used to, but this is the only stop on tour where we stay right on site. Beautiful property, great pool, good restaurants, Starbucks in the lobby, little breakfast sandwich, cup of joe, stroll down the driving range, and boom, you're at work. So great week. Incredibly windy though this week. Kind of typical for Texas in general. Definitely typical this time of year. Pumping 20 to 30 miles an hour every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can't really see much behind me here, but actually over my shoulder is the 18th green. The flags on the grandstands barely moving. It's a zephyr. So completely different start to the tournament than what we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday during practice. We played the Pro-Am yesterday. This is a tough golf course in no wind. Played with 3 great guys, but they, 20 handicappers, and it was brutal, gusting 35, 40 miles an hour. So completely different conditions to start the tournament, but looking forward to get out there in a few hours.
Yeah, I was talking to you and some other people, and it sounds like the setup this week is just a little bit different than it has been in past years. I guess maybe can you shed a little light on that?
Yeah, I think this course it's a new date before Augusta, last chance to get in the Masters. I think they want to attract some of the international guys. This course has had rough in the past and no rough this year. I think they've kind of followed the general grass cut height that Augusta has for the Masters. So very little rough, which makes the course, I think, significantly easier. We had 5 to 10 yards of rough before you got into the desert, and now it's playable. So it kind of widens those fairways. This golf course has always been a second shot golf course, in my opinion. It's an iron player's course, which by default makes it a scrambling golf course. I think off the tee, it's going to be significantly easier. But still, Greg Norman designed some incredibly tight, tough, narrow, slopey greens. And if you're not on point with your irons, you better scramble your way around this golf course. Otherwise, you got no chance.
Yeah, you mentioned the scrambling, and I know Sneds uses a stats guy. I'm curious, I guess, what the stats guys kind of told you about this week in specific, and then also just week in and week out, how do the 3 of you guys work together to kind of come up with a game plan and then execute it when you get out on the golf course?
So essentially, not to give too much away, we have a guy, Mark Hortsey, who works with Billy Horschel and Brandt Snedeker. So it's a little bit proprietary, the information there. I don't want to give too many secrets away, but essentially what he does is he breaks down each course, a little bit of where to hit it and where not to. But that's obvious if you've been out here for a while. You kind of know how to get around golf courses. But what he does is he breaks down these little nuggets of information and says, okay, in the last 5 years, last 10 years, the guys that finished in the top 10, in particular, the guy that won, he did these 2 or 3 things significantly better than everybody else. So he'll break it down into distances into the greens. The majority of iron shots that were converted to birdies were the 5-iron, the 6-iron, the 7-iron. So it channels your practice leading up to Thursday each week. This is a scrambler's golf course. It's a second shot golf course, as I said, hard greens to hit. It's hard to hit a lot of greens out here, particularly if it's windy. So it's a scrambling golf course. Pitching, chipping, that's a given most weeks. But then what distance of putt was the average putt to save a bogey or save a par to keep momentum going? Because you can make a double out here in a heartbeat. So we just kind of channel and focus our putting drills on specific distances based on what the data says the last 5 to 10 years. A big number this week was 8 to 12 feet. the guys that win here hold more of that distance than anybody else. And so it just channels in your focus on how you structure your practice leading into the tournament.
Well, lucky for you, you work for one of the best players in the history of the game, so I'm sure he'll be holing those 10-footers when he has to out there today. We talked about it a little bit briefly. The Masters is next week. We all want to be there. I know Brandt's a guy that's played well there in the past. Needs to punch his ticket this week, with a win, basically. If you win, there's a private jet waiting for you. Pretty cool deal. I guess, does that reward kind of sit somewhere in the players and caddies' minds this week? Does it affect anything
100%. Absolutely 100%. And, this is the second year in a row Brandt has missed the Masters. And there's a lot of actually marquee name players here this week that aren't in, that the general public might expect to be in. Jason Day is not in the Masters. Ian Poulter is not in the Masters. Matt Kuchar isn't in the Masters. Brandt Snedeker hasn't qualified this year. So that is a big reason why they're playing, and 100% it's on their mind. I mean, all the majors are big, but we know how special the Masters is to everybody and how important it is to be able to have a chance to win that green jacket. There's no question this is on those guys' minds. It's on everyone's mind, really. And there's a pretty decent chance, the winner this week is going to go. It's I don't know how many guys are playing this week that are already in the Masters, but there's more that aren't. So it could be a first-time visit to some guys. For some guys, it could be, hopefully it's us. I'd love to be on that plane Sunday evening.
Absolutely. I'd love to see you guys get on that plane. So I know you got to get out there today, get a good one under your belt to start on Thursday. So we'll be following all week long. Scott, thanks for taking a little time out this morning.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for having me, mate.